Oculus. The Oculus is designed by Santiago Calatrava. It is a transportation hub as well as a shopping center, and it also is a memorial towards the Westfield as well as the World Trade Center. I'm sorry, there's just people right behind you.
Okay.
So on 9/11, the windows up above, they do open up, but only on 9/11 and at 2 times.
Oh wow.
Yes. So the 2 times that they open up is during when the planes crashed into the Twin Towers. And why this is so special is the sunlight comes through that opening, and when it does, it forms the north and south tower.
Oh wow.
As a beam of sunlight. We call this the wedge of light.
Okay.
And when it opens up, as it forms this tower, it hits the American flag that hangs up right there.
That's awesome.
So as you can see, this is going to be a rendering of what it will look like at the very end. A lot of the towers are still being constructed and also filled with many of the businesses that were originally in the World Trade Center. The reflection pools, as you can see, they're out front. They're an open groove, so each droplet that you see comes out of the fountains. They're supposed to represent the victims. And then as they come together in the center, it's to be kind of memorializing that all together we are one and that they will never be forgotten. So they go deep into the ground, so forever, you know, they're washing straight into the ground. If there was ever a fire on Westfield World Trade Center or anywhere in the observatory tower, the pools will stop working and stop spewing waters, and that water will be used to take out any of the fires. Wow. The reason why the observatory tower is built at these angles is so that one day that the sunlight will hit this tower and hit all the rest of the towers. That will hence make the pools glow as well as the Oculus glow.
Wow.
So that no matter where you are in the air, you will know where the World Trade Center is. That forever, you know, it will glow and be shining during the day.
Wow.
What's really interesting about this building, Santiago built it at, so this angle, altogether this project was about $1.5 billion, but it's still increasing each day. You see that a lot of construction is still going on, and it's only been open for about 2.5 months, but altogether every day we see over about 30,000 people walking through. Due to the PATH train, the MTA, downtown in general, we have a connection to Brookfield, that mall. There's just so much foot traffic into this building. On the outside, if you were to look at it, this is just a rendering what it looks like. It's to envision a dove being released by a child. The building is white, and the structure, it's just for a beam of hope. We say doves, a lot of us have on our pins lapels, it's the 2 doves that Roberto coined, just made especially for the World Trade Center. That's to envision that a remembrance of the past, but also a hope for the future. That no matter what, we will always, always keep the memories of the victims that were lost. We will keep the memory of what happened alive no matter what. So they call it One World, they call it World Trade Center because it affected the whole world.
Right.
It didn't affect just one, it's not New York City World Trade Center, it's not, you know, just a specific name. Everyone was affected. No matter where you were that day, everyone always remembers what they were doing, no matter what. So for me, for example, even though I'm very young, I still remember in kindergarten I was coloring, but I remember to that day seeing it on the TV, seeing the smoke. My family members remember what they were doing. It was as if the world was standstill for 5 seconds.
Exactly.
So it's really interesting, this whole building. The observatory tower was taller than the original Twin Towers. The exact height is the day that the Declaration of Independence was signed. So every detail, everything that you see is very intricate. So all designed to be, you know, all towards the World Trade Center. If you were to look at the Chase Bank, their whole bank is dedicated to the World Trade Center. Up top, you'll see twinkling lights. Each light represents the victim that was lost. They're light fixtures that fall down. It kind of looks like a chandelier. They represent the Twin Towers, the planes, you know, the World Trade Center. It's very interesting to see kind of the lifestyle here. People come to remember the time that they were with their families, the victims that were lost, you know, people come crying. Another interesting thing is, no matter what, World Trade Center, for the reflection pools, if you see a white rose just stuck in between someone's name, it's their birthday.
Oh, wow.
They'll do that every year for their birthday, no matter what. So you'll see a white rose constantly. You'll see many of them. A lot of the World Trade Center members, they will come and wish, you know, a prayer, depending on, you know, what your denomination was. So it's really interesting.
That's really nice. Really nice. So when this was a big, like, kind of hole in the ground, a few years, 4 years ago maybe or whatever, this was what was going to be down here, the mall, like a mall. with the businesses
So
that were already here before?
Yes, so the original businesses that were in the World Trade Center were asked back. You have to realize it was over 10 years ago.
Right.
This construction took about, I would say, a good 5 to 7 years.
Right.
When the planes hit, they were full of fuel. They had a full tank. So
Right.
that fuel is just 10 times hotter, burns 10 times longer. So for about 2 years, you had just a fire going on constantly.
Wow.
So construction was a lot. You had all the buildings surrounding it that were destroyed. So cleanup for that was a long time.
Right.
I mean, the Greek Orthodox Church up above, over by the fire department, that was completely destroyed.
Wow.
So a lot of the buildings were affected. You know, you had this destruction, and nobody wanted it to be taken away yet because they wanted to be there and be hopeful that somehow that they could find their family members.
Right.
But a lot of the bodies weren't found because of that full tank of fuel.
Right.
They were burned and incinerated completely. You know, if you were to go to the Tribute Center, which is right next to the fire department, a lot of the survivors, a lot of the family members will tell a detailed kind of experience of what happened. You know, I happened to be one of the victims of it. His wife was a victim, and he told us the story about how his wife wasn't supposed to be there that day, but they had a meeting, and she was on the exact floor where the plane hit.
Wow.
So he talked about how he went to the downtown morgue and how they just represented a couple fragments of bones and said, "This is your wife. We've identified."
Wow.
Yeah, we identified, and this is your wife.
Wow.
You know, and he found relief in that because he realized that she didn't suffer. She
Yeah.
wasn't suffering. You know, it was a quick death, and that's what he was happy about. But the fact that he only had those little pieces to remember her by. He said that they were one of her rib bones, one of her hip bones, one of her leg bones, you know, and it's kind of crazy to think of it, you know, imagining, you know, a lot of family members being like, where is my family, you know?
Right.
In the Tribute Center, there's also an interesting wall. It kind of hits you and takes you aback. It's missing papers, missing people's papers. So tons and tons of people were hopeful that, you know, maybe their family member was lost or confused or dazed. And they put on missing papers for a long time. You know, they were hopeful about it.
Yeah.
A lot of them were victims.
Wow.
And it takes you a lot to take in because it says like their favorite color, what they like, what they look like, pictures of them in a moment, you know, when they're surrounded by family members. You know, it tells you their birth date, their name. So see that thing, you think of, you know, you put a name and a face to it, the victims, it takes a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, thank you.
Wow. Thank you so much.
My pleasure.
Oh, appreciate you, Tiffany.
My pleasure.
Thank
Appreciate
you
it.
so much.
Have a great
That's
day,
awesome.
guys.
Have a good one.
Thank you.
Wow.
Wow.
Let's go to the reflecting pool.
Let's go see that.